Okay, welcome to part 2 of the how to paint Ursarker video. Now I'm going to do the second highlight on the flesh with Vallejo dark flesh. Same principle as the first highlight, except we're just going to leave some of this colour showing around the knuckles to show the tendons on the back of the hand. Just being a little bit more generous with how much room or how much we're leaving beneath is really the key. In the first video we went over how to do eyes and the first highlight on the flesh, and I mentioned we'd be leaving more detail in the second highlight. So where I've done the nostrils here, there's it's just been dotted on, and I haven't left the very first undercoat, so that just makes that part slightly more subtle. Now remember to try and keep your paint fairly smooth, but don't water it down too much. And also don't worry if you paint over areas you didn't mean to, because it's very easy to just go back in with the previous colour and put that colour back in to tidy up. Okay, so that's the second highlight done on the flesh. Now I'm going to do a final highlight. This is just going to be a very sharp highlight of a much lighter colour called Highlights Flesh. This is Panzer Ace's Vallejo colour once again. This is very pale, so you want to be very careful with how much you put on. So this will be just on the most raised areas where the light's really going to draw your eye, on top of the knuckles. Anywhere where you think there'll be shadow, just don't paint there. So on top of the nose there, he's got quite a broad chin there, so we'll put a few dots on there. A little bit on his eyebrows, perhaps on the top of his head. And his scar, that's quite prominent. perhaps his broader cheekbones. So I'm fairly happy with how that looks. Now I'm going to paint in his bottom lip. And for this I'm going to use a colour called red from Vallejo. There's actually two colours called red that they do. One's slightly lighter and one's darker. This is the darker of the two. And I'm just going to paint that on there. Now that's going to be highlighted later on. Just going to go back in, and at the edge of the lip on the bottom there's a little bit of flesh. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of the highlight colour there just to smooth that over. Make that look a little bit more natural. So that's the flesh finished. As I say, I will highlight his lip when it's dry. So I'm going to move on now to undercoating his trousers or his sash. We'll do his sash first. Undercoat some red areas. Now for this, I'm going to use a Vallejo colour called Black Red. This is great for undercoating nice deep dark reds. Vallejo's tend to take quite a bit of shaking to mix them up. There's a little bit showing above his belt there. And I think, I think we'll paint the inside of his jacket this colour as well. You can be quite messy when undercoating these areas because there's nothing either side to paint over, so you don't need to worry about that. But take your time when you're going past areas you've already done, like the face here. Don't want to get any red on that. Okay, so